gentlemen, Coach Webster coming to you live from the Softball BC Awards Banquet. We're so...
Thank you, Michelle. Just this time, just want to thank everyone for coming to our awards banquet. I was chatting earlier with some of our Hall of Fame inductees, and it's one of the highlights of the year for me, at least, to chat with the people, hear their stories that are being inducted into our Hall of Fame. I'm always love their stories. So, ladies, I want to thank you for coming to the banquet. You're very welcome to be here, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that it's a very special time for you, and welcome. I also wanted to mention for a second, Michelle here used to play for me years ago. I've been involved in this game for a little while, and so her being named the Coach of the Year this year, she's well deserving, and she must have learned from her old coach, I'm thinking. Yeah. So anyways, just want to welcome everyone on behalf of Softball BC. Hopefully everyone enjoys the evening. The opening dancers were awesome. I'm not sure who arranged for the dancers, but that was a tremendous performance, and I think everyone, we thought that was really great. So anyway, welcome, and let's get going.
Thank you, Jake. I certainly learned many things. At this time, we'd also like to acknowledge our Hall of Fame committee that's with us this evening. Brian Van Oos, if you could just stand, or there you go. Jackie Duggar, Terry Crewley, and Dennis Biden. We'd also like to acknowledge Jackie Duggar, who's here from Softball Canada. So I'm super stoked for this next part, only in part because I didn't have to actually do the reading myself, which was originally slated, but also because I get to invite up here two of my players from the Kelowna Heat, who I'm super stoked to bring to the stage to present to you guys. Give a girl a softball. So Mal and Maya, if you guys could join me up here, that would be awesome.
Okay, there's a lot of people out in there. A lot of people can expect this. Okay. Are we a little underdressed? Yes. We are. We're a little underdressed.
No, you're not.
Are you
well, thank you.
No, I'm not nervous. No, I do this every single day. Every day. You don't do it every day. First time. Ever. Anyway, I'm Maya.
And I'm Mallory.
And we just wanted to say a few words about our coach and everything. And we just want to say that we're so privileged to play for you, Coach. Mal and I are actually both catchers, and playing for Coach was tough. We were actually both on the injured list, awaiting surgery. And Coach Webb was the softball coach, but she was also a life coach, and she taught us how to make good life choices and what to do when we made bad life choices.
Is this a good life choice?
Probably not. I'm shaking like crazy.
Be better, Coach.
Yeah, be better. Inside joke.
Anyways, Coach Webb, I think you really deserve this award, and I should know because I've played so many sports, I've played for so many coaches, but no one has come close to you at all. I just have to say that meant a lot to me for playing with you this year. It was such a great opportunity. And she taught us to not just win gracefully, but to lose gracefully, and that stood out to me. And also that she would always say, if you aren't 100%, that's okay. Just give like 50%, give 100 of that 50%. And that is stuck with me today, and with all my other sports, that, like, it's for every sport, that's meant a lot. And on and off the field, she's like, give it your all the time. But most of all, she taught us to respect the game and respect ourselves. And for that, Coach, I thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
And Coach, I love your leather trucks.
Yeah,
really good
trucks.
Awesome. And now we're gonna read a poem.
Poem on two. 1, 2, poem. All right. If you give a girl a softball,
If you give a girl a softball, she'll want a bat to go with it. You'll buy her the best bat you can find, and she'll probably want a bucket of balls, and a glove, and some cleats too, and maybe a bow. When she realizes she cannot carry all the stuff with her own 2 hands, she'll want a bat bag, in her favorite color, of course.
then she will probably spend hours begging you to go out in the yard to play with her bat, glove, and balls. Even though you may want to sit on the couch and watch TV, she will insist, and her insistence will win. When you go out into the yard to hit and throw and pitch and catch, she will not want to go inside the house for dinner, and she will swear that even at dusk, there is enough light to continue playing.
Next, the backyard will get too small. She'll never see how far she can hit the ball. Her new bat, wearing her new jersey, and she'll want you to drive her to the softball field. Once she gets to the softball field, she will get dirty, she'll laugh, she'll have fun, she'll giggle.
When she's all dirty and enjoys the way the dirt feels under her fingernails and in her hair, she'll probably want to learn how to slide in the mud in the rain on a muddy field. And when she slides in the rain on a muddy field and swings her bat and sees how far she can hit the ball and finally learns how to catch, she will want friends to play this new game with.
Then you'll get a girl a jersey, and when you get a girl a jersey, she'll want pants and socks too, and a belt to go with it, and a team. And then life as you know it will end.
There will be no more lazy weekends watching TV. You will see more sunrises than you ever thought possible. Every spare minute of your time will be spent hauling buckets and bags and stinky cleats and giggling girls all over the place to play softball. And you'll get excited about new bows and new softball t-shirts.
Your backyard will be transformed from a newly mowed place to hang out on the weekends to an overgrown, weed-speckled faux practice field complete with a bell net. And your house may be dirty, your car may be a mess, but you always have a girl. Just because you gave a girl a softball.
Your weekends will be spent grueling it out on a fold-up chair, and her weekends will be spent gaining confidence and friends and learning new skills and having fun and getting dirty. So dirty, in fact, that you will have to learn how to do laundry in a whole new way, like maybe at a car wash using a pressure washer.
Her smile will grow bigger and bigger each year she plays with that softball. She'll get better and better. Her love for the game and her confidence in herself will go right along her jersey size. Then she might be trying to become a pitcher, a catcher, infield, or outfielder, because softball teaches her she can be anything she wants.
And you will be there the day she hits her first home run or makes her first double play, and she will make you so proud. So proud that you will get her ice cream and her coach will give her the game ball. And right before your eyes, your little girl will be transformed into a softball playing beast who sets aside a Barbie doll one day long ago simply because you gave her a softball and a bat and a glove and a bat bag and a jersey to go with it.
When you give a girl a softball, you don't just give her a ball. You give her a sport and talent and hope and dreams and friends and a new family. A place to learn about life, to grow as a person where she can push her limits and bravery and courage and life and memories. And she'll have all of these things just simply because you gave a girl a softball.
Then one day, many years from today, she will be in her room and a softball will roll out from an old dusty bat bag under her bed, and she will pick it up and realize instantly that when you gave the girl a softball, you also gave her a childhood that she would never forget. And then she will hug you and your eyes may leak because you realize that everything you gave up along the way was worth it.
All because you gave a girl a softball.
See, way better than I could have done. That was awesome. One more time for my end now. Guys, and just for the record, these are my fancy chucks. They're the leather ones. They're not just your run-of-the-mill chucks. These ones only, like, I keep them in a box. These are my special ones. Awesome. Great job, ladies. So we're going to go ahead and get into some recognition now. We're going to start with the scholarship and bursaries. So the Cassandra Coulias Memorial Scholarship, we had 2 recipients. Natalie How do I do that one? Taras? Yeah, close enough. District 5 and Morgan Glover from District 5, so we'll just give recognition to them as well. And then the McDonald Toms Umpireversary Awards for Josephine Wedling, Jillian Bailey, Elizabeth Francis, and Jordan Thomas. I was all ready to go and like had my notes and I'm like, I got this, and I had formulated thoughts and everything, and then these guys started going and I kind of lost all track of everything, so I'm gonna get back on track here. So at this time I'd like to welcome to the stage Katrina Bull to help present the next award. Our first award will be to the Minor Coordinator of the Year, Roxy Abernathy from District 6. And Roxy's not here, so Elizabeth Lee will be accepting on her behalf.
Can you squeeze my hair?
Awesome. Next, we'd like to please welcome to the stage David Brewer to present the award for District Umpire in Chief of the Year, Jeff Watt. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit. Forgot to note to everybody that they're just going to do a quick photo outside, the official photo. But we do encourage you guys to grab photos on the intermission breaks of your family members who are recipients. Next, we'd like to please welcome to the stage Dan Coates to present the award for Senior Coordinator of the Year to Susie Parker. So next up, we'd like to ask Zioni Andreasen to present the next award, please, for the Rising Star Umpire Award to Curtis Holt Robinson. Curtis has stated that one of his goals is to help younger umpires while at the same time bettering himself.
Good job, Curtis!
Curtis needs an agent. Look at all these people taking his pictures. Hey, Curtis, mind if I ask you a real quick second? So I mean, obviously, if you have a signature ring up, I'd like to see that. But if you wouldn't mind, yeah, you got okay. Oh yeah, I dig it. In a suit. That's awesome. Where are we at now? I'm so excited at all these punch-ups. I'm a catcher, so strike three. This is my jam. I love it. All right. Now, please welcome to the stage Jake DeWitt to present the next award for Official of the Year to Terry Cochran. Terry works hard to get back to softball BC umpires program. She took the Softball Canada Instructor and Evaluator Clinic this year and also assisted with Level 1 and Level 2 clinics.
I sat at the wrong table and Hi. Oh, I'm so excited. Kind of nervous. Wish I had a clicker in my hand and a couple of teams on each side.
Okay, so how about not a punch out? How about just a question? You good with a question?
Okay.
Or you want to do the punch out? I see you getting ready.
Well, the heel.
I don't.
I sat at the wrong table. I don't know. I'm kind of
How about just this? What's your favorite part of being an umpire?
wrong question.
Okay.
This banquet and all these people.
How about this? How do you dig the blue shirt? Do you like the blue shirt, the red shirt? I see there's sometimes a pink shirt. Favorite color of the shirt?
No, I'm slow pitch mostly.
Oh,
Blue
okay.
only.
Blue only? Do you guys do the shorts?
Ah!
There it is. There it is. My question.
You only get blue.
You only get blue.
Only get blue.
I'd write a letter. The red looks sharp. The red looks sharp.
It's a different association.
Next, we'd like to invite Jackie Duggar to the stage to present our next award.
Heel.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here tonight on behalf of Kevin Quinn, President of Softball Canada, and the World Baseball Softball Confederation to present to one of our very special BC umpires the 2017 WBSC's Umpire of the Year Award. This young man started playing our sport when he was only 6 and continued playing rep as the catcher through the midget program. He started his umpire career when he was 13 years old. He played and officiated through his minor ball years. However, he always liked the officiating part of the game. When Scott finished playing, he decided to put his energy and passion into umpiring. The first time I saw Scott umpire was at the Pee Wee Boys Provincial Championships in Abbotsford in 1990. I was so impressed with this young man and how he handled himself on the field, how he dealt with the coaches and players in tense situations, and his knowledge of the rules. Scott was only 14 years old, but he had the skills to be an amazing umpire. I have been fortunate to be part of many events that Scott has officiated at, and have watched him to develop into such an accomplished umpire. Scott has worked hard at his craft, and as such, he is being recognized and rewarded for his dedication and skill. Scott received his Level 5 certification for Canada in 2011 and the World Baseball Softball Confederation certification in 2012. That is an amazing accomplishment. On the road from Scott's travels to the top of his game, he has officiated at many provincials, BC Summer Games, many Canadians, many Canada Cups, the 2018 USA International Cup, the World Baseball Softball Confederation 2014 Junior Men's Worlds Championships, and the 2017 WBSC Junior Women's World Championships. His skill, his attitude, and workmanship has seen him being awarded the home plate at both of these gold medal games at both of these championships. The WBSC has recognized Scott's ability and have rewarded him as the 2017 Umpire of the Year. Being voted as the best umpire in the world is an amazing accomplishment. Currently, the WBSC's Umpire Commission recognizes Scott as one of the world's top umpires. Congratulations, Scott. At this time, the WBSC and Softball Canada are honored to recognize and award Scott the Umpire of the Year award for the World Championship.
Awesome, congratulations, Scott. Let's see where we're at now. I shouldn't walk away from the paper mostly. At this time, we'd like to invite Pat Harrison to present our first Hall of Fame inductee. That's the two-step I was talking about.
Thank you for inviting me again this year. Some of you got to be here last year when we got to present some of the 60s and 70s inductees, people that sort of got left by the wayside. Well, we were on a mission last year to find the people from the 40s, late 40s, 50s, and 60s for this year. And one of the reasons I really am, sort of, it's a passion of mine. I don't want softball to be forgotten, and I don't want players to be forgotten. So we put together some dossiers on 3 different people and one particular team that over the evening we'll share with you tonight. The Senior Women's Softball League, as we know it today, had its roots in Centre Park in Vancouver. They played under the Granville Street Bridge area when they started. This league began in the early 40s and operated until the mid-50s. From all accounts, it was the most competitive 7-team Senior A league to have ever been put together in Vancouver. There was nowhere else to play but the Vancouver Inter-City Women's League. Some of the pioneers of women's softball have already found their way into the current BC Softball Hall of Fame. They are Mark Callahan Maxwell, our very own League of Their Own star shortstop, for those of you who've seen the movie, Olive Dill, Shirley Topley, and Sally McCullough. I call these 4 the Fab Four. That was another era. Some of the, now you've screwed me up. Okay, so those are the Fab Four. So tonight we get to honor 3 additional players from this era. This year's inductees include Jerry Gilmore, Ev Bonneville, and Joy Small Armstrong. So now with the Fab Four and tonight's honorees, we now have the Magnificent Seven. Collectively, they have influenced generations with their playing talent and coaching abilities. Quite simply, the Magnificent Seven were the beginning. Their love of the game led each one to give back to BC's future stars. Softball gives us all memories that you can keep in your heart forever, as the girls were describing having that ball and that bat and what we did with those things. Scary. But I hope you'll all cherish your special memories with your connection to the game. It's just, you know, I'm 75 now, and I've had just such a magnificent career in softball, and my whole life has been dedicated in many different tracks of my life to softball, and it's just been the best part of my world. So I just wanted to share that piece with you. Tonight, I would like to ask Pat Hall to introduce our first individual inductee, Joy Small. Pat? We're old now, so we take a little while here, so we're okay. Just of note, Pat Hall is a member of the BC Softball Hall of Fame as a builder.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Pat Hall, and it is an honor to be amongst you again. Keep up the good work. I'm here tonight to introduce Marilyn Joy Armstrong, known to all of us as Joy, and my friend of 60 years. But before I do that, I'd like to take a moment to thank Pat Harrison. She did all the work, research, and contacting people to gather the information needed to put these people forward for this induction. Thank you, Pat. And well done. Now for Joy, the reason that I am here, I didn't see most of Joy's illustrious career as an outstanding ball player. I can only believe what I read. She moved to Victoria in the late 50s. She contacted me through the late Lou McCorkle as I was the registrar for the Greater Victoria Basketball Association. Yes, I know, it's hard to believe that us two shorties played basketball. Then I convinced Joy to play field hockey with me. She was such a good athlete that she was named the Canadian field hockey goalkeeper and went with the team on a tour to Jamaica one year. Now there was a pause in the action as Joy had her two children. When they were a bit older, she joined Walter Yeoman's softball team. In the 2 years that she played for the team, they went to nationals once in Winnipeg. It was softball's loss when Joy retired. I'm very excited for Marilyn Joy Armstrong to be inducted into Softball BC Hall of Fame this year. Congratulations, Joy.
Thank you. Welcome to you all. I'm standing here absolutely, for the first time in my life, wordless. So I'm going to quit right now. No, that's not true. My husband would tell you that. He goes on once in a while too. I cannot find the words for this honor. I had nothing but absolute joy, fun, it's an honor that I never, ever, ever expected. I played for fun, I played my heart out, and as a team, no matter what teams we were playing with or against, we all went after the same honors, the same kudos, the same inspirations, and I, for one, am one of the happiest person in the world to ever expect to be standing here. And I thank each and every one of you, especially Pat. I have two friends named Pat. Pat and Pat. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and I hope each and every one of us in this room keeps on with softball and sports. That's it. Thank you.
To the stage, Merv Sandrell to present Volunteer of the Year to Phil Ransom. When not coaching, Phil can be found umpiring. His time and commitment to the sport is second to none, and his vision for the boys and grassroots program in BC is impeccable. Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that sometimes people think that I do the work of two people. It's because my dad's got the same name as me. And for every hour that I put into this, he puts in 59 minutes.
Well, whichever way you want to go, I mean, you won the award.
Please help me welcome to stage Graham Duncan to present Minor Service Award to Nelson Hughes.
Yeah, Duncan!
Nelson spends so much of his time volunteering with softball that many often have wondered if he really has a wife. He does in fact have a wife that he enjoys spending time with, traveling and drinking quality wine. Nelson, favorite bottle of wine?
Capital.
Kamloops from Nelson. No, so we really don't have time for speeches.
I gotta get this at the right angle so I can see it. First of all, I would like to thank Softball BC for this award. I appreciate it very much. Now I'm gonna go back in history a little bit. I would say before a lot of you people were born, I started playing ball in Victoria when I was 7 years of age. Mom and Dad had 11 acres alongside our house, and my dad made a ball field out of one corner. I can remember all summer long, 3-4 days a week, playing 500. Raise your hands if you know what the game 500 is. Thank you. I played ball in elementary school and high school in Victoria. I was transferred to Edmonton in 1956 and started playing fastball there until I got transferred back to the coast in 1970. As a sideline, when I was playing ball in Edmonton, in Greater Edmonton, there was 121 men's teams. In 1971, I started coaching minor girls in Port Coquitlam. The first year that I coached, they gave me 21 girls to coach, one team, along with 3 gloves that were like pancakes, 3 used balls, and 1 wooden bat. That's what we got then. I played ball there until 1985, as well as coaching minor girls. In 2004, we moved to Victoria, where I started coaching in Langford, until 2007, when I joined the Victoria Devils A program and coached there until 2014. When I went to Victoria with the Devils, things were different. In the A program, our team had a budget of at least $75,000 a year. We traveled to Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, Las Vegas, and Denver, all the time via the beloved BC ferries. We moved to Kelowna in 2014, and I started coaching with the Kelowna Minor Fastball, where I am today. In closing, I would like to thank my wife, Sue, for allowing me to live my passion. She has hers, which is gardening. She also happens to be a master gardener. I do have a wife.
All right, so we're gonna do a 10-minute We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a. Feel free to use the washrooms located just outside that door. The bar is still open. I'm not sure if there's any of those little dessert cup things left, but I would probably check those out also. But we're gonna come back in about 10 minutes and continue on with our program.
I'd like to invite Michelle Webster up to the stage to receive her award. So real quick, Michelle Webster, I think that we've briefly introduced her. She is an amazing person, amazing coach. She's hilarious. She coached North American Indigenous Games team, TBC. She coached the Summer Games team, and she coaches the Kelowna Heat organization. So one more round of applause for Michelle.
I'll come back. We don't need a speech, just give you one all night.
It's my great pleasure to introduce Pat Harrison once again, to introduce Evelyn Bonneville. Thank you.
This is our second member of the individual awards tonight for the Hall of Fame, induction into the BC Softball Hall of Fame. And as a former teammate of Evelyn Bonneville, it is my honor to outline her career for you. She began her senior A career at 16 years old, and all these people I get to talk about, you'll hear 15, 16, 17 years old in the senior A league. That doesn't happen anymore, but some of us were really fortunate to start our careers with some of these great players. She started with Western Mutuals in 1951. Mutuals, again, were one of the powerhouse teams in the Women's Softball League in the 40s and 50s. In 1950, at 15, Evelyn started as an outfielder with the Crack-A-Joke Shop. There we go. As she watched the veteran players in the A League, she started copying their pitching styles. She was like a chameleon, copying, changing styles on a dime. The old-fashioned figure eight was the style of choice by most pitchers at that time, but the windmill and slingshot were starting to find their way into Canadian softball. Ev credits Laura Nelson, premier pitcher for Pacific Meats in the Centre Park League, as a great influence on her career. Over the years, Laura worked with her young prodigy to develop one of the great pitchers of the 50s and 60s. Ev just loved to play the game, and she describes her teams at Centre Park as one big family. The great people that cheered for her and her teammates are memories that are embedded in her heart forever. Ev played with Mutuals from 51 to 53, and then she joined, in 54, joined the Crowhurst Motors team coached by Bobby Peters. Crowhurst Motors were the BC Senior Women's Champions from 1954 to 58. And as a member of the Crowhurst Motors team, Ev got her first taste of U.S. World Championships in Portland, Oregon in 1955. In 1959, the nucleus of the Crowhurst Motors team moved to their new home at South Memorial Park and became the South Hill Queens, who we're going to honor later this afternoon or this evening. Ev played for the Queens in 1959, helping the young veteran team find its place in the U.S.-Canadian Northwest League. In 1967, she came out of retirement to join the Vancouver Merchants, anchoring a very young Merchants pitching staff. And just as Laura Nielsen had done for her, Ev became the mentor for younger teams pitchers like Ann Mers, Linda Slavin, and Joan Firkins. Ev Bonneville finally retired after the 68 season, a career that spanned 2 decades, playing with the best senior A teams in women's softball. Ev was honored by South Hill Sports in 1989 with their Salute to the Stars Award. These awards recognize the very best that South Memorial Women's League had to offer. I'd like to read a testimonial from Shirley Topley, her former coach and teammate. Evelyn was an outstanding pitcher who had played for and represented BC athletes for many years. Not only was she a standout pitcher, but she constantly mentored young ladies, helping BC talent to develop into some of the best in Canada. I look forward to her being honored for her tremendous work and dedication to BC women's softball. Shirley Topley, BC and United States Softball Hall of Fame. And from Elaine Callahan, teammate from the South Hill Queens and her teammate from the Merchants. Playing softball with Ev was a unique experience. There were many different wind-ups alone were enough to make you chuckle. She had the knack of putting the team at ease with her easygoing attitude. This attitude was not apparent when she was pitching in the game, where she became very focused and definitely very serious. Ev was always available to assist the younger pitchers and pass along her expertise she gained in her many years of playing. Her admission to the BC Softball Hall of Fame has certainly been earned. Unfortunately, I have one more little quote to read for Laura Malish, who was her teammate and her catcher from Saskatchewan, who's a member of the Softball Hall of Fame in Saskatchewan. One of the things that she highlighted in the testimonial that she sent me, successful teams have great pitchers. Ev was one of our best. Due to some mobility and health issues, Ev could not travel to Kamloops today, but I would like to ask Carol Vaudry, one of her teammates, to come up and accept her award from the committee. Carol?
Well, it's certainly unfortunate that F can't be here to enjoy this moment. But thank you, Pat, for all your effort and hard work in making this possible. And special thanks to all the members of the Softball Hall of Fame. Thanks.
No, lost my notes again. A lot of young coaches like me. Coach Frey is being inducted into the Georgia College and State University Hall of Fame. So we would like to congratulate her on that. And have her come on up and help us present this next award to Community Coach of the Year, Candace Goldman. Loves the game, but more importantly is passionate about sharing the knowledge and drive with her young teams. Yeah! I had a couple of questions for Candace. This is kind of my thing, that's what I do. But I was asking Candace over lunch what her most memorable coaching moment was, and she had a really great answer that I think would be cool if you could share.
All right, so get your napkins ready because it's a tearjerker. Okay, so I started coaching about 2.5 years ago, so very fresh off the boat. And I had a girl who struggled with confidence. And she was a pitcher like myself. I struggle with confidence as well as a pitcher. And so every game she'd pitch and she'd throw 100 strikes and she would throw 2 balls and she'd cry. And it would be the worst thing for me to watch. So we talked, and after every game we talked, after every practice we talked, and we worked on her confidence. And finally I was like, you know what I do when I was a pitcher and I would throw a strike or I'm not hitting my spots? And she's like, what? I was like, in my head, I think, make me like Finch. Jenny Finch. And I found out later she went home that day and she said to her mom, you know, Coach Candace gave me this great tip, and she said, in my head, if I'm not doing well, say, make me like Finch. But Mom, I don't want to be like Finch. I want to be like Coach Candace. Right? I know. And so that's why I love coaching, and I'm here for the girls, and I'm here as their mentor and their coach as well.
just had a follow-up question. Coach Candace, how many times have you been ejected from the game? Who ejected you, Coach Candace? That's a funny story you want to ask them about later. Next, we'd like to please invite Dan Coates up to help present the Senior Female Athlete of the Year to Sarah Risky. This year, Sarah played for the Delta Sunfire team that won bronze at the Senior Women's Canadian Championship, where she was selected MVP for the qualifying round and then followed up with the tournament all-star. Congratulations. Do you have like a memorable moment from the trip you'd like to share, or, yeah?
It was my first time being at the Senior Women's Nationals in 7 years, and with the Sunfire, we all shared a large house, which was kind of like a mansion, and you can probably guess what senior women like to do after games, and so we had a lot of fun, and I really appreciate going with them. It's a great honor for this award, and I'm really thankful to be here, but thank you.
16A Canadian Championships. Madison wasn't able to be here tonight, but her dad Jake is going to take home the hardware for her.
So, yes, Madison's at a tournament in California this weekend, so she couldn't be here, but she did ask me to say a few words. Actually, she begged me not to say any words, but I thought there was people that were worthy of recognition. So I just wanted to thank Jerry and Jackie Duggar, Zioni and Marlene Andrew-Jason, who've opened their homes to Madison and my wife Bev on all those weekends that we have to travel. We don't live in the Lower Mainland. Madison played on the Renegades for 4 years, and these people have made it possible, so thank you. She also wanted to thank her 2002 Renegades teammates. You can't win any awards, anything like this, without the help of your teammates, and she certainly wouldn't have achieved what she has so far without their help, and so we want to thank them because they're part of this. And lastly, she asked me to thank her mother, who has been her catcher and her coach since she learned how to pitch when she was 8 years old. And my wife has never played softball. She's a school teacher. She gears up now and catches 64-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Yeah, babe! Yeah, babe!
She takes a beating and also puts up with a 16-year-old teenager's attitude. So she does deserve that applause. So thank you very much.
All right, so we'd like to welcome back Jackie Duggar and Pat Harrison to introduce our next Hall of Fame inductee. You guys need a pedometer.
This is the last of the individual ones, folks. The final inductee is Jerry Gilmore as an individual player. As a former teammate of Jerry's, it is my honor to share her 20-year softball history with you. I would like to start with a quote from one of Jerry's former coaches, Dr. Christine Grant. Her portrayal of Jerry is shared by former players and coaches alike, regardless of the sport she played. Dr. Grant stated that Jerry was one of the most gifted athletes I have ever coached. There are 4 characteristics that make Jerry stand out in my memory: her natural talent, her eagerness to be coached, her determination to give everything she had in every game until the end, and her wonderful, warm personality that contributed greatly to the cohesion of an entire team. She has earned my everlasting respect. I'd like to add one small note here. Jerry is also a national basketball player and an international field hockey player, so she was one of our 3 sport people. Jerry's senior career began at 15 in 1949, playing on a senior B team. In 1951, she played her first senior A game at second base. In 1952, legendary coach Bob Peters began coaching the powerful Crowhurst Motors team. With Bob's coaching and Jerry's natural talent, the stage was set for Jerry to become one of the elite softball players in BC. Crowhurst competed in 3 USA World Championships. In 1956, Crowhurst won the first ever Western Canadian Championships. In 1959, the South Hill Queens were formed at South Memorial Park, and as a member of the Queens, Jerry once again had the opportunity to play in 2 additional World Championships in 1960 and 1961. After the South Hill Queens disbanded, Jerry anchored the following senior A teams at South Memorial Park and in Victoria: Collingwood, Victoria Viquettes, Vancouver Texacos, and the Eldorado Hotel. These teams participated in both provincials and Canadian championships. As a member of the Vancouver Texaco team, Jerry was named the Canadian All-Star team in 1966. Jerry retired after the 1969 season. I'd like to read a couple comments from her coach, Shirley Topley. Coach and teammate, Shirley Topley. As a player, I played alongside Jerry for many years and loved the way she competed. The last few years, I was a teammate as well as her coach, and I couldn't have asked for a more dedicated, exceptional, and talented athlete to work with. She was a natural, willing to be coached. She gave everything to the game, and her leadership was outstanding. And that is why, without a doubt, I believe that Jerry Gilmore is very deserving of this honor. Again, Shirley Topley, BC and USA Softball Halls of Fame. And I just had a few comments that I wanted to make about Jerry. In 1959, I had the honor of being the youngest player of the newly formed South Hill Queens. Jerry was one of the veteran players that made sure I was always taken care of. As a player, Jerry wasn't loud or flashy. What she was classy. As one of the 4 rookies in the lineup, I always knew we were okay because Jerry always showed up. I am grateful to Jerry Gilmore. I'm grateful that Jerry Gilmore was a big part of my formative years in Senior A softball. I was one of the lucky youngsters that learned from the very best. Pat Harrison, thank you. My honor to introduce you, Jerry Gilmore.
I didn't know I was
There are 2 tables down there that might be squiggling a bit, table 8 and table 9, because I'm known for saying some pretty detailed things. Anyway, I'm up here because I had the privilege of playing with the best teammates and the best coaches anyone could ask for. I'm going to thank 2 of those coaches tonight, Bob Peters and Shirley Topley. Bob Peters coached Crowhurst Motors. Now, Crowhurst Motors was a tiny little garage in North Vancouver, and they played in the Senior Women's League and the Pacific North League. This meant that poor little North Vancouver was traveling to Medford, Portland, Salem, all on a weekend. Usually Medford would be a long weekend, but one thing was common. We always got back to Customs around midnight. Good thing about it, no lineups. The bad thing about it was trying to convince customs officers that a carload of females had been in the U.S. for a weekend and had nothing to declare. In fact, once we were told, and we were all working or going to school, once we were told that we would have to wait till 8 o'clock in the morning for a female instructor to come in. Well, saner minds prevailed, and a great bit of sarcasm from the cars. We were allowed to go and get home in time for work. Bobby Peters and Joe Crowhurst decided to retire because these field trips were, we had good times, but they had families, so they decided that they would step down. That's when Shirley Topley took over as coach and player. Who could ask for more than Shirley Topley? Anyway, we had the same team except for 15-year-olds. And we really invited these 15-year-olds sitting at table 9 and 8 because it really gave us new life, you know, and that's just what we were needing. However, they sort of crammed our after-game celebrations. How can you leave a carload of kids outside while you're in drinking tea at the, you know, or but it was all worthwhile. They were a tremendous addition, and really there are 3 of the 4 of them here tonight, and one of them just couldn't make it. But there's Lanny Callahan, Pat Harrison, and Carol Rodri. Would you 3 stand up? Because you are the little kids on our team.
Yeah.
I'd also like to thank the rest of my teammates, all the way from Frank Marshall's little girls team in Marple up to Adrian Levine's senior women's team. I guess it was Memorial Park. And my only hope right now is that I could have them standing up here with me, because they were just such great players, team players. But that's not possible. So, in closing, I would like to thank Softball BC for once again recognizing that softball was played at a really high level back in the olden days. Thank you.
All right, team, we are back. Certainly, we'll be thinking of Jerry, and hopefully she gets to feeling better soon. I know that first responders have been called, and this is a great time to just acknowledge the teamwork on behalf of the hotel staff for getting in here and helping us take care of that. And to everybody else in the softball family who jumped to right there, that's a perfect example of who we are as a sport and the way we conduct business. So thank you everybody who helped out, and we'll certainly be thinking of it. So we're gonna make this the floor show now, if everybody can see me. I'm still down here. We're gonna move on, and we're gonna invite Dan Coates up to present the Senior Team of the Year award to the Delta Sunfire. We could get Dan and the Delta Sunfire to come up. The ladies in the back of the room. This season, the Sunfire took home bronze at the Canadian Championship, which they could not have achieved without the dedication of each player, as well as all of the individuals and businesses who supported them with their fundraising efforts.
They're trying to come in the wrong door.
Coming to help us out. We called in some firefighters for you ladies. Ambulance paramedics, my bad.
Why don't they come in the other door? The other door is clear.
So, yeah. How do you guys want to go about this? This is your ball game at this point. So we asked earlier if there's any memorable moments about your trip. I was a little afraid to follow up with the question, but if y'all have anything to add at this point, we'd love to hear a story or two. I think it would be a great time for a story. Rachel's always got a story.
So probably the best part of this experience for us was getting to all stay together in a house and experience the the joy of the friendship that we've enjoyed over the years in another province and getting to experience all of the other teams that we got to play and having Leah and Sarah with us. We also really want to thank our coaches. Without Dave and Sue, we wouldn't be here. They dedicate so much time to us, and we appreciate everything they've done for us.
You're so welcome. All right, next we'd like to bring up Katrina Bull to present Minor Team of the Year to the White Rock Renegades 2002 team. The Renegades 2002 were the best O2A team in Canada this year. The Renegades only lost 2 games this season to their own age category. Their resume this year includes U16A Canadian Championships, U16A Provincial Championships, and a perfect 15-0 league record. And we'd like to invite Greg Tim to come up and accept the award. All right. Lost one. All right, and if we could get Jake to come back, please, and join me up here to present the Honorary Lifetime Member Award to Ann Holmes.
Before I give this award to Anne, and she's been an amazing member of Softball BC for quite a long time, obviously, with a lifetime award. But she's one of those people that you can call on when you need anything. You need help to run a tournament, provincial championship, chair committee, do discipline, whatever it takes. Anne's one of those people, she doesn't know how to say no. So she hasn't had children in this game for a long time. And I'm really proud to call her my friend. And I really miss those stories. Congratulations.
I acknowledge my children and my grandchildren and my son-in-law that are here with me tonight. This is the first time that my 3 of my 8 grandchildren have been able to enjoy something like this with mainly an adult thing. They've done very well tonight. Also, this award means a lot more than what Jake just said. A dear friend, Sandy Runzer, got this award. She's not with us anymore. Got this award in 2005, and she was the main catalyst for making District 9 and the people in District 9 a valuable part of Softball BC. And this award isn't given out very much. It's been given out once since 2005. And I would just like to acknowledge and thank Sandy for everything that she did for Softball BC. And yes, Jake, I miss trips to Vancouver too. Thank you very much.
You guys are good, right? We're good? We're gonna keep cruising. I think Anne was the first one that ever had a conversation with me about throwing my helmet. Yeah, Becky's confirming. Anne was the first, so that yeah. That's awesome. At the 10, yeah, way younger. It's true. It's true there is an award above the break, but we're not going to take a break. Please welcome Brian Van Oz and Pat Harrison to present our next award to Pat's not coming up here for this one, right? No. We just had this conversation, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I'm just gonna give this to you because I'm gonna take that break.
Thank you. My name's Howard Cosell. Oh, sorry, some of you other people. Anyway, I'm here to induct the only male member of this year's Hall of Fame, Gord Fadden. So the reason they got me to speak about him is because I guess I did all the legwork looking for it. Now, it's kind of ironic. Jake talked to me last year. He said, we need to get more people in the Hall of Fame. So Pat had done a lot of legwork with older women. I started thinking, you know, we've got a rich history of male softball players in this province too. And Victoria is one of the richest. And so I started, this year I was a U19 assistant supervisor with Softball Canada. Nothing to do with umpiring, because I'm from the dark side. I'm an umpire, right? So, and I am proud to be in this Hall of Fame, but I started looking, and I talked to Rob Ginter, who is in our Hall of Fame, Canadian Hall of Fame, about players from Victoria that haven't been in there. And then I said to him, what about that Gord Fadden? He was from Abbotsford. Oh, Robbie goes, yes, absolutely. I talked to Mark Smith, played with him in the Pan American Games. Yes. So now I got to try and find material. So I phoned Victoria. Nobody knows where he's gone. This guy's moved. He was a lineman for BC Hydro, so he had the luxury of being able to move around the province. Anyway, I found him. I'm not going to tell you about it because it's kind of a bit of a sad story, but I found him through the internet. God bless the internet. And he lives in Salmon Arm. So now to get material, I thought, I phoned Jackie Duggar, because we're on the Hall of Fame committee. I'm just going to phone him and tell him to send his material. Well, lo and behold, he had a scrapbook. And I got material that, I'll tell you, I'll be looking for people because it had a history of softball while he played in Victoria, of everybody. So I got stats, I got everything. And you know, we know stats are for losers. But I happened to umpire during the era that this guy played. This guy was one of the greatest hitters in the sport. I can tell you he hit for average, but he didn't hit towering home runs. He hit line shots that made third basemen scared. And the best compliment I got, well, you know, I'm looking for people to, was from Rob Ginter. He said when he played in Abbotsford, we could pitch around him. You know, we didn't have to face him. Then we picked him up for Canadians, and we had a formidable lineup. They got Hall of Famer Bob Burrows, Reggie Underwood, Johnny Green's not a Hall of Famer, should be, but he will be next year maybe. Anyway, the point is, they couldn't pitch around him. When I looked at the stats, 10 years of statistics with Victoria softball, he was in the top 3 hitters on that team. He hit for power. There was a Norwest League that was one of the top men's softball leagues in the world. Teams out of Seattle. Seattle won the ASA championships. The team in Victoria had won Canadian championships. Teams out of Portland. There's, anyway, 6 times he was named All-Star third baseman. Won a batting title. He won so many awards. He played at South Hill one year with a team from Abbotsford. Won the MVP, next year won the batting title. So all those credentials make him, you know, what he is, why we're going to put him in the Hall of Fame now. But I think one of the best stories is he got picked up to play on our national team. And I think the coach probably didn't like him because he didn't start every game. But they were playing in a game, if they lost, they were out of the tournament. And he was put in to pinch hit, bottom of the 7th, and he responded with a game-winning home run to put him into the gold medal game. And they went on to win the gold medal. And that typifies the type of player that he was. And then the final story I'll tell you about him was, I get a phone number and I phone. And his wife answers the phone. So I said, my name's Brian Manoss, you don't know me. I used to umpire your husband. He probably booed me, I said. But Anyway, I said, I'm phoning because we're considering him for the Hall of Fame. Oh, Gord! Jeepers creepers! I mean, she was ecstatic. And then Gordy got on, and I tell you what, he sent me material. He said, well, what kind of material? I said, just blow yourself up. I need material. And he sent me quite a folder, and I'll be passing it on to Softball BC, because out of that, we will get a few more people from their team. Just like Pat, as you know, Pat had the history of the women. I've got a little bit of the history of the men when I did umpire, because I did umpire at that level. So anyway, I'd like to have Gord Fadden come up and deserve his induction into the Softball British Columbia Hall of Fame. Get the mic, buddy. He's got to speak. A little bit of one, but you covered pretty near everything. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think it'd be a lot easier to just grab a bat and hit a home run, stand up here and speak, but I'm going to get through this. I'm extremely honored to be inducted into the BC Softball Hall of Fame. Special thanks to Brian Van Oss for nominating me and Rob Ginter for his supporting comments. Both are members of the BC Hall of Fame and the Canadian Hall of Fame. Thanks to all my teammates. Without them, this award wouldn't be possible. Because, you know, in a team sport, you can get an individual award, but it's everybody on the team that contributes. Thanks to the many coaches, managers, trainers, and a special thanks to the sponsors. Without sponsors, we wouldn't have very many teams out there playing right now. A few career highlights. Well, I think Brian got most of them. The one he missed one though. I was representing Canada twice in New Zealand, and it was quite an honor. And the honor at playing at the Pan Am was putting the Canada jersey on, and I was selected on that team, and it was the first time that that team was a national team, not a club team. So it was quite an honor to be part of the Canada team. And I'd like to thank BC Softball for their support in keeping softball tournaments, nationals, BC championships, and everything going for all the people that still play softball and everything like that. It's tremendous what they do. Congratulations to all other award winners tonight. It's amazing when you do something like this and you see how much time and effort people put into the game. In closing, I give my biggest thanks to my wife Deb, my sons Matt and Mitch. Without their support, it wouldn't have been near as much playing the game I love. Thank you. Everybody have a good evening.